I'm a 28-year-old guy, and I've been married to my wife, Jade, who's 26, for 3 years now. We've been together for almost 6 years in total. A few months ago, we had our first baby. But recently, I found out something that completely shattered me. The baby isn't actually mine. It's my brother Grant's child. He's 32, and it turns out he's been having an affair with Jade for the past 3 years. It started just a few weeks after Jade and I got married, and I had no clue until a few weeks ago. To be honest, I'd been struggling to connect with the baby emotionally for some reason. I felt like a horrible dad because I just couldn't bond with my own child. I didn't understand why, but maybe it was some kind of instinct. One night, I opened up to Jade about how guilty I was feeling, and I even broke down crying. Instead of comforting me, she started sobbing uncontrollably too. That's when she finally told me the truth. She admitted that the baby wasn't mine and that Grant was the father. She'd even taken a paternity test but decided not to tell me because the affair had ended as soon as she found out she was pregnant. She said she wanted to focus on us and fix our marriage. But by the time she told me, it was too late. I was completely devastated. I packed my things that same night and left, even though it was really late. Jade tried to stop me and was clearly upset, but I just walked out. I blocked her so she couldn't contact me, and I've been staying in a hotel ever since. The whole thing has been emotionally draining. For the first few days, I couldn't even wrap my head around what had happened. I didn't tell my parents, but they found out through Jade and Grant. When they called me, instead of supporting me, they basically said, "What's done is done." They told me Jade made a mistake, but as her husband, I needed to forgive her, forget about it, and focus on fixing our marriage and being a family. I was shocked. What family were they even talking about? That baby isn't mine, and I can't believe they expected me to raise the child as my own and stay with Jade after everything she did. It just felt completely unfair and unrealistic. I thought my parents were being completely unreasonable, but then my dad finally came clean. Turns out this whole mess was tied to a business deal. My father-in-law was planning to invest in my dad's struggling logistics company to help save it. My father-in-law is pretty wealthy and runs a few successful businesses, so my parents have always been really impressed with the family I married into. But I never imagined it would go this far. Apparently, this investment had been in the works for a while, and my parents were planning to surprise us with the news once everything was finalized. But now, if I divorced Jade, it could ruin their relationship with my father-in-law, and there's no guarantee he'd still go through with the investment. According to my parents, my dad desperately needs this deal to keep his business afloat. That's why they were pressuring me to just suck it up, pretend everything was fine, raise my brother's child as my own, and forgive Jade for cheating, all so they could secure the investment. I was absolutely disgusted. I hung up on them and blocked their numbers. Then I immediately started looking for a lawyer. As soon as I found a good one, I filed for divorce. About 3 days ago, Jade was officially served the papers. On the same day, I decided to expose everything. I reached out to my parents, my in-laws, my dad's business associates, some of his employees, family friends, and relatives. It took me a couple of hours to track down everyone's email addresses, but I made sure to explain the whole situation. How Jade had cheated on me with my brother, and how my parents had asked me to stay quiet and pretend everything was fine just to save their business deal. Once I sent those emails, all hell broke loose. My parents are now blowing up my phone with calls, texts, and emails from every possible number and account. They're furious because, obviously, the investment is off the table, and their reputation is ruined. But honestly, I don't care. They chose their business over me, and I'm done playing along with their lies. My parents are now demanding that I apologize, as if that's going to fix anything. They've also told me that Jade is really struggling and has been diagnosed with postpartum depression. So all of this is making things even harder for her. They're trying to make me feel guilty, saying she's completely miserable and that I'm making everything worse. But honestly, I don't feel bad about what I did. After everything they put me through, Jade's betrayal, my parents' selfishness, and their attempt to manipulate me into living a lie, I feel like they deserved it. I'm glad I exposed the truth and let everyone know what really happened. They made their choices, and now they're dealing with the consequences. Edit. Alright, so a lot of people have been asking about Grant, his relationship with Jade, and how it all ties back to me. I guess I should just clear that up. Grant and I had a typical brotherly relationship, nothing out of the ordinary. So all of this has been a huge shock. Since I found out, we haven't spoken at all. As for Grant and Jade, their relationship seemed normal too. I never had any clue something was going on between them. Grant's always been more of a solo kind of guy. He's not the type to settle down with one person for long. His job involves a lot of travel, and even outside of work, he's always on the move. He's super spontaneous and totally different from me. From what I knew, Jade wasn't into guys like him, not looks-wise and definitely not personality-wise. So none of this added up for me. Jade told me that they only started seeing each other after we got married and stopped when she found out she was pregnant. I don't know if that's the full truth or not, but either way, I never noticed anything weird at the time. They were just really good at keeping it hidden. I always thought they were just friends, nothing more. As for why Jade cheated, I'm not entirely sure. When she was trying to explain herself and get me to stay, she brought up how I was working a lot at the start of our marriage. Back then, I had just started my own career because I didn't want to take over my dad's business. So I knew I had to put in the effort to get ahead. Sure, I was focused on my job, but I didn't overdo it, and I never brought work stress home with me. I think she was just bored and used that as an excuse to hook up with someone else. Anything else she says is probably just her trying to shift the blame because she doesn't want to admit this was entirely her fault. So, that's pretty much everything I know about Grant and what happened with Jade. That's all for now. Update 1. Hey everyone. Thanks so much for all the comments and support. It really means a lot to me, especially with everything going on right now. Pretty much everyone is mad at me. My parents, my in-laws, you name it. They think I embarrassed them by talking about what Jade did to people who didn't need to know. It's been a few days, and I've been throwing myself into work or just hiding out at the hotel, deleting messages and emails from my parents. They won't stop. They keep creating new accounts and numbers to reach me. I don't even get why they're going this far. The damage is done. Me saying sorry won't change what happened or make them look any better. On top of that, my in-laws reached out a couple of days ago and said that email I sent wasn't necessary. They saw who I sent it to and think I did it just to embarrass my parents. But because of that, Jade ended up looking bad too. Honestly, I don't know why I'm supposed to feel bad about that. She cheated on me with my brother and was fine letting me believe her baby was mine. She only came clean because she broke down one night. So yeah, I'm not exactly feeling guilty here. What she did was awful, and honestly, she deserved this. I didn't even bother replying to anyone because I just want to put all of this behind me. Right now, I'm waiting for Jade's lawyer to respond to the divorce papers. I think I've been pretty fair about everything, and I'm really hoping she doesn't make things harder than they need to be. As for the baby, it's not mine, so I'm not going to be involved in any way. Sure, my name might be on the birth certificate, but that doesn't change anything for me. It's not that I have anything against the baby. He's completely innocent in all of this, and I actually feel bad for him because he's going to suffer because of his parents' mistakes. But at the end of the day, he's not my child, especially since he's my brother's. If Jade tries to bring up anything about the baby, I'm not going to budge. I'm just trying to prepare myself for whatever might happen because, honestly, I have no idea what to expect. I haven't spoken to Jade since I left, and I don't ever want to talk to her again. I know she's miserable right now. Plenty of people have told me, and I could see how upset she was when I left. But I really hope she doesn't think her misery will somehow convince me to stay or fight the divorce. That's not happening, no matter what. I'll do whatever it takes to get out of this situation. For now, I'm just hoping she doesn't drag this out and make it even more painful for everyone. Please keep me in your thoughts and hope she doesn't contest the divorce. She still has a few days to respond, so I'm really hoping she makes the right decision. Update 2. Hey everyone. It's been a week since my last update, and I finally heard back from Jade and her lawyer. Good news is she's not fighting the divorce, but there's a new issue. She sent over a child custody plan, saying I need to step up as the father since my name is on the birth certificate, even if I'm not the biological dad. She's saying that because I've been involved in the baby's life for the past few months, I have to take responsibility, whether I want to or not. Honestly, it's really frustrating. I don't think being on the birth certificate should matter more than a paternity test, so I talked to my lawyer right away. We've decided to move forward with disestablishing paternity, which means I won't have any legal responsibility for the baby. Until that's done, I'm still considered the legal father, but the baby's only 4 months old, so I don't think it'll make much of a difference. I'm hoping this gets sorted out soon. My lawyer said it shouldn't be too hard since the baby's so young, and my absence probably won't affect him. Over time, he'll likely forget I was ever part of his life. It would have been a bigger issue if I'd found out later when he was older, but for now, it's okay. I'm really glad I found out about this now. If I'd waited, it might have been way harder to deal with emotionally and legally. I might have gotten attached to the baby, and things could have gotten really messy. I'm also kind of relieved that I didn't bond with the baby early on. I read online that a lot of new parents go through that, so I thought maybe I'd connect with him over time like other dads do. But looking back, I'm thankful I didn't. because it made me feel guilty, and that's why I ended up telling Jade the truth. If I hadn't, I might never have found out. Right now, the only positive thing in my situation is that my parents have backed off a bit lately. They haven't been texting or bothering me for the past few days, which is a relief. I'm not sure what their plans are moving forward, but for now, it's been quiet, and I'm grateful for that. With some space to think, I've been considering moving out of the hotel and finding an apartment closer to work. Right now, all I want to do is focus on work and sleep, and staying in a hotel isn't sustainable. It's going to get too expensive. I've reached out to a few friends to help me connect with a realtor, so we'll see how that goes. I've also started replying to people who responded to my email. A lot of them were really kind and understanding, and even though I'm not sure how genuine they were, I felt it was polite to respond. I realized it must have been awkward for them to receive that email in the first place, so the least I could do was acknowledge their messages. About 90% of my family who got the email replied with sympathy and reassurance that things will work out. Most of the employees ignored it, but some of my dad's business associates responded similarly. I thanked everyone, including a few people who reached out even though I hadn't contacted them directly. I guess word spread through family gossip. Honestly, I'm okay with people reaching out to sympathize, even if it feels a little needy. Right now, I'll take any kind words, whether they're sincere or not. I'm really upset, and I miss her. I miss my family, and I miss how things used to be. It's hard to just shut off those feelings, even though they've hurt me. This isn't something I can process overnight. It's going to take time. For now, I'm just in this strange, lonely place, but I'm hoping things will get better eventually. I don't think I'll ever fully get over it because Jade was the first woman I truly loved. But life doesn't stop, so I have to keep going. I still have to work, take care of responsibilities, and handle the practical stuff. It's tough, but that's just how it is. Update 3. Hey everyone. So, about a week ago, I filed a petition to disestablish paternity, which means I'm trying to legally prove I'm not the father. Because of that, both parents were called to family court. Jade, of course, freaked out over it. She didn't know how else to get in touch with me, so she made a fake Facebook account and started calling and messaging me on Messenger. This all went down yesterday while I was in a meeting, so my phone was on silent, and I didn't notice until later. When I finally checked my phone, I saw she'd called me 12 times in 45 minutes and sent a bunch of messages. She was really mad that I didn't answer. According to her, Grant and I have ruined her life. She claims that after she got pregnant, it wasn't her who broke up with Grant. It was the other way around. He dumped her because he didn't want things to get serious. That's when she decided to stick with me because at least I was committed to her. But then she found out Grant was the father and tried to reconnect with him. This time, though, he told her to end the pregnancy because he wasn't ready to be a dad or commit to her. She kept trying to reach him, but he ignored her and eventually blocked her. In her messages, she told me all of this, and now she's accusing me of abandoning her, just like my brother did. She says the two of us have ruined her life by leaving her to raise a baby alone. Grant has made it clear he doesn't want to be involved in raising the child. Even if she manages to get child support from him, he's not going to step up as a father, and she'll still be stuck raising the baby by herself. I don't see how any of this is my fault. I get why she thinks Grant ruined her life, even though she knew what kind of person he was and that he didn't like commitment when she had the affair with him. But I don't understand why she's blaming me. The way she's twisting things is just wild. After reading her messages, it's pretty clear she just wants to play the victim. Anyway, I didn't want to talk to her, so I just blocked her. If she's smart, she won't fight the paternity case and will let me disestablish paternity without any issues. That would save her time, money, and energy, things she could use to try and get Grant to at least pay child support. She's going after the wrong brother, and that's all I have to say about it. The whole situation will be handled in court, so I'm not stressing over it right now. On top of that, my parents were on my case for a while, but lately, it seems like they've backed off. In my last update, I mentioned they hadn't bothered me for a few days, and since then, they haven't reached out at all. Maybe this is the calm before the storm, or maybe they've finally realized that their reputation and plans are ruined, and trying to force me to apologize isn't going to fix anything. From what I've heard from a few relatives, they've pretty much disappeared. They've deactivated their social media, stopped talking to family, and even my dad's business has been shut down for a while now. Apparently, he might be selling everything off, which would explain why things are so quiet. If that's true, I know he'll be really upset because he was always proud of what he built. But, well, he's almost in his late 50s, so I just hope he has enough saved up to retire. I can't see him working for someone else at this point in his life. I'm not on good terms with him right now, but I know he used to work hard and tried to be a good father to me before things went south. So I do hope things work out for him. That said, I'm not ready to talk to him anytime soon, and I hope I don't have to for a while. Anyway, even if my parents don't have me, they still have Grant. He makes good money, and even though he's not around much, I don't think that'll matter to them. He doesn't have a family and doesn't seem interested in starting one, so if my parents haven't saved enough for retirement, they can always lean on Grant and treat him like their retirement plan. And honestly, I hope Jade does the same thing and manages to get some child support out of him. That'll be entertaining, for me at least, not so much for him. But after everything he's done to mess up my relationship with my wife and the life I built, I think it's the least he deserves. Anyway, that's all I've got for now. I'll update again if anything new happens. Thanks for keeping me in your thoughts and prayers, and once again, I really appreciate all the love and support from everyone here. Update 4. Hey everyone, it's been a while since I last posted here. Life's been pretty hectic. I think my last update was around 5 weeks ago, but a lot has happened since then. I was able to prove I'm not the father of the child, so I won't be paying child support or taking on any responsibility. It was a big win for me, especially since I thought she'd try to drag things out. But she didn't fight it, probably because she realized it would just waste time, money, and energy. The judge wasn't going to be fooled anyway. She had refused to share the paternity test results, so I had to get my own done. It didn't change anything. She could have held on to those results for years, but it wouldn't have made me the father. In the end, I proved the child wasn't biologically mine, and since I'd only been in his life for 4 months, my leaving wasn't going to have a huge impact. So I got the outcome I wanted. Since then, I haven't heard from Jade, and she hasn't tried to reach out to me. As for my parents, I heard through some relatives that they've sold their business and are getting ready to move. They've only told a few people where they're going, mostly those who stuck by them through everything. But I have a pretty good idea. I think they're heading to my uncle's place in Loa so my mom can team up with her brother and run the farm they inherited from their parents. It's something my mom had always wanted to do, and she'd brought it up with my dad a few times, but he never wanted to leave the city. They used to argue about it a lot. Now, though, I think he's out of options, so he's finally agreed. At least this way, he's still part of a family business, just not the one he thought he'd be running forever. Anyway, that's all behind me now. I've been focusing on moving forward. I've started therapy, been hitting the gym, and just working on myself. I'm not completely healed, that would be a lie, but I'm getting there. Some days are good, others are really tough, but I'm taking it one step at a time. Update 5. It's been almost 6 months since my last update, and a lot has changed. I'm doing much better now. I got a promotion at work, which is great, but honestly, I only got it because I threw myself into work to distract myself from everything else. It wasn't the healthiest way to cope, but at least something good came out of it. Oh, and I'm officially divorced now. The paperwork went through a couple of months ago, but I forgot to mention it here. Since we didn't have much to split and she didn't ask for alimony or anything, the whole process was pretty straightforward. We just had to wait out the required time, and now it's all done. I haven't seen her since, but I heard from some mutual friends that she moved back in with her parents and is raising her son there. She'd been living in the house we used to share, but I guess she couldn't afford it on her own anymore. Or maybe she just wanted the extra support from her family. Honestly, that's what made me decide to post this update. I've been so busy with my own life that I hadn't thought much about it, but when our friends told me about her situation a few weeks ago, it reminded me to share what's been going on. As for Grant, he seems to be doing fine, from what I've heard through the grapevine. I'm a little jealous that he's come out of this mess without a scratch. But at the end of the day, he's still the guy who wrecked my marriage, so I'm sure karma will catch up to him eventually. For now, though, I'm just focusing on myself and moving forward.